You know, for over 2 decades we've been living life a quarter mile at a time. The Fast and Furious saga, it's become more than just movies. It's a global family, a legacy built on loyalty, action, and of course, speed. We've traveled the world, from the streets of Los Angeles to the roads of Rio, pushing the limits of what's possible. But through all the explosions, the heists, and the heart-pounding moments, there's always been one constant, one truth that holds it all together. The real stars of this journey, they aren't the people behind the wheel. They're the machines themselves. These cars, they're not just metal, glass, and rubber. They have a soul. They carry the weight of our stories, our victories, our losses. They represent freedom, power, and a bond that can't be broken. Each one has its own personality, its own growl, its own history. They're characters in their own right, as important as any member of the crew. They're the heart of the franchise, the reason we fell in love with this world in the first place. They are the legends that we built, and that in turn built us. So today, we're gonna pop the hood on that legacy. We're going to take a closer look at the real-life icons that burned rubber and stole our hearts on the big screen. We're talking about the cars that went from being street racers and garage projects to becoming global legends. So buckle up. We're going to take a ride back through memory lane and celebrate the horsepower that started it all. This is for the family, for the fans, and for the cars that made us. It all starts with the Beast. My father's 1970 Dodge Charger RT. This car, it's more than just a car to me. It's a testament, a ghost from the past, a promise. It sat in the garage, collecting dust because I was afraid of it. That raw, untamed American muscle, the 900 horsepower roaring from under the hood, the blower sticking out like a warning. It represents pure, unapologetic power. It's the kind of machine that demands respect, the kind you feel deep in your chest when you turn the key. It's the anchor of our entire story, a symbol of family legacy and the fine line between fear and respect. In the world of muscle cars, the Charger was already a legend long before we put it on screen. It was born in an era of rebellion, a time when horsepower was king and the open road was a challenge. But for us, for the family, it became the embodiment of Dom Toretto. It's intimidating, it's powerful, and it's fiercely loyal to the one who understands it. Every time you see it pull that wheelie off the line, you know what it stands for. It's not just about winning a race. It's about honoring the past and protecting the future. It's the heart of the family, forged in steel and fueled by high-octane memories. If the Charger was the heart, then the Supra, that was the soul. When I told Brian he owed me a 10-second car, I never imagined what he'd bring back to the garage. That beat-up, forgotten Toyota Supra MK4. It looked like nothing, but we saw the potential. We poured our blood, sweat, and a whole lot of NOS into that thing. It was a bridge between two worlds. The perfect blend of Japanese engineering and American street racing grit. That bright orange paint job, the iconic graphics. It became a symbol of brotherhood, a bond forged over engine grease and late-night tuning sessions. That car proved that respect is earned, not given. On the street, the Supra MK4 was already a tuner's dream. The 2JZ engine inside it? Legendary. It could handle insane amounts of power, a blank canvas for any gearhead with a vision. For Brian, it was his entry into our world. It was the car that raced my Charger, the car that cemented his place in the family. It represented a choice, a turning point. It wasn't just about speed, it was about loyalty. That Supra will forever be a legend, not just for what it could do on the pavement, but for the family it helped build. It was his car. When Brian went deeper, his ride had to evolve. He needed something that spoke the language of the streets he was now a part of. Enter the Nissan Skyline GT-R R34. That machine, it was more than just a car, it was a statement. Bayside blue, sleek and technically brilliant. It wasn't about brute force like my Charger. It was about precision, technology, and a different kind of power. It was the perfect car for him, reflecting his journey from an outsider cop to a true member of the family, someone who understood the code of the road. It was his identity on 4 wheels. The Skyline GT-R, especially the R34, was a ghost in America, a forbidden fruit we could only dream of. It was a JDM icon, a technological marvel known as Godzilla for its ability to dominate the track. Its ATISA ETS all-wheel drive system and the legendary RB26 engine made it a surgical instrument for the street. For Brian, driving that car was a commitment. It showed he wasn't just playing a part anymore, he was living it. The Skyline is a cult classic, a legend whispered about in garages around the world, and putting it on screen gave that legend a global stage. It was Brian's perfect partner in crime. Before the Charger became my signature, there was another beast that I tamed, the red Mazda RX-7 FD from the first race. That car was all about finesse. It was different. It had a unique sound, a unique soul. The rotary engine, it's not like a piston engine, it screams. It's a high-revving, fire-breathing heart that demands a different kind of driver. It was a symbol of the underground scene, a car built for carving corners and owning the streets of LA. That RX-7 was my weapon of choice in a world where reputation was everything, and it never let me down. The Mazda RX-7 FD is a piece of automotive art. Its sleek, timeless design and its near-perfect weight distribution made it a favorite among drifters and racers. But the star was always the 13B rotary engine. It was compact, powerful, and had a sound that was unmistakable. It represented the ingenuity and passion of the tuner culture we were bringing to the world. It showed that power came in all shapes and sizes, from all corners of the globe. That red RX-7 was a declaration that we were here and we were playing by our own rules. It was the first shot fired in a race that would last a lifetime. Every story has a beginning. And for Brian O'Connor, the undercover cop trying to find his way, that beginning was a bright green Mitsubishi Eclipse. That car was his ticket in. It was loud, it was flashy, and it had more graphics than a comic book. It was trying hard to fit in, just like he was. The Eclipse was his first test, his first taste of our world. That first street race with the laptop on the passenger seat, the danger floorboard, it was clumsy, it was raw, but it was real. It's where his journey and his bond with me truly began. In the late 90s, the Mitsubishi Eclipse was the poster child of the tuner scene. It was accessible, it was stylish, and its 4G63 engine was a fantastic platform for modification. It was the car that brought the import tuner culture to the masses. For Brian, that green Eclipse was his cover, but it became more than that. It was the car that pushed him to his limit, the car that blew its engine for the sake of the mission, and ultimately, the car that led him to the Supra and to us. It might not have been the fastest or the toughest, but without that green Hornet, the family would never have been whole. Our world isn't just about grit and muscle. It's about style, personality, and standing out. And nobody stood out more than Suki and her hot pink Honda S2000. That car was a work of art. It wasn't just painted pink, it was a statement. The custom graphics, the neon underglow, the whole aesthetic, it was pure confidence on wheels. Suki proved that you didn't have to drive a big, angry muscle car to command respect on the street. She showed up with flair, and her S2000 was an extension of her personality, bold, fearless, and impossible to ignore. It was a masterpiece of self-expression. The Honda S2000 itself is a driver's car, through and through. A high-revving VTEC engine, a perfect 50-50 weight balance, and a convertible top for that open-road freedom. It's a scalpel, designed for precision and agility. What Suki did was take that incredible performance platform and turn it into a cultural icon. She showed that the tuner world was a place for artists, not just mechanics. That pink S2000 broke the mold and became one of the most memorable cars in the entire franchise, proving that style and substance can and should go hand in hand. It was unforgettable. Sometimes it's not about the car you own, but the one you have to get. In Rio, the mission led us to something special, a true piece of history, the Ford GT40. This wasn't a street racer or a tuner car. This was a legend forged in the fires of Le Mans. It was a thoroughbred, a machine built with one purpose, to beat the best in the world. Stealing that car from the train was more than just a heist. It was like capturing lightning in a bottle. The GT40 represented a different level of power, a different class of machine. It held the key to our freedom, a secret hidden within its chassis. The Ford GT40 is pure American racing heritage. It's the car that Carroll Shelby and Ford built to dethrone Ferrari at the 24 Hours of Le Mans in the 1960s, and they did it. It's a symbol of American ingenuity and sheer determination. Having it in Fast 5 was a nod to the giants on whose shoulders we stand. It connected our world of street racing to the pinnacle of motorsport history. The GT40 wasn't just a plot device. It was a character that brought a sense of gravitas and history to our biggest heist yet. It was a reminder that no matter how big we get, we always respect the legends that came before us. From a 10-second car built in a garage to a legendary Le Mans winner stolen from a moving train, these machines are the lifeblood of our saga. They are more than just props. The 1970 Dodge Charger, the Toyota Supra, the Skyline GTR. They became legends because they were extensions of us. We poured our hearts, our ambitions, and our stories into them. They carried us through races, heists, and battles, and in return, the world fell in love with them. The roar of a rotary, the whine of a supercharger. It's the soundtrack to our lives. These cars connected with people on a level we never expected. They inspired a new generation of builders, drivers, and dreamers. Garages around the world started filling up with projects inspired by what we did on screen. That's the real legacy. It's not just the box office numbers or the crazy stunts. It's the passion for automotive culture that we shared with the world. It's the feeling you get when you're behind the wheel of a car you built, a car you love. It's a bond between driver and machine, and a bond between all of us who share that passion. So now, I want to hear from you, from the whole family out there watching. Which car from the Fast and Furious universe stole your heart? Was it the raw power of my Charger? The tuner perfection of Brian's Supra? Or maybe the unique style of Suki's S2000? Drop a comment below and let me know which car defines the franchise for you and why. Because at the end of the day, whether you live your life a quarter mile at a time or just dream about it, we're all connected by the love of the machine. For Paul,